of the city, just to know how many people are living there now, so that the system can adjust production accordingly and work with other city systems. But that would be a simple census of going online and pressing a button, and okay, you counted me, and you go off and do your thing.
I was thinking when, I didn't attend from the very beginning, unfortunately, but starting from where you tackled or started talking about abundance, and as you finished up, and I was thinking about that this abundance would also mean that there will be a very great healthy population,
Right.
which will also be in abundance.
You're thinking about population size?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I was thinking, how does your science projection, what is the connection with ethics? Especially that there will be grown-ups, a lot of grown-ups, and about, the young ages. And for example, I noticed here that some of the elderly people were noticing that the young people are attracted to sentimentality much more than the human aspect, and they find that they are not so keen, the young people, about helping the elderly who may need help. And can you just let me know what is the connection between ethics and morals and this science project?
That's a touchy subject because that gets into faith and what people believe in and what's right and wrong and things of that nature. And, for the record, I'm an atheist, so I really don't have a lot of, faith-based.
But you're a human as well.
But I'm a human, and I believe that there is a way to treat people, there is a right and a wrong in the way you treat people. So I guess I would have to say, if you create a better environment where people are more happy and productive in what they feel is a positive move in their life, I would have to think that the social interactions would also be positive. So it would be a natural ethics. It would be an organic ethics of life is good. I don't have a reason to be mean or misbehave towards anybody because I don't gain anything from it. In today's world, you can gain stuff from being bad to other people. But in this particular system, there's no advantage to behaving that way. And it also is a reflection of education. How are people taught? Are they taught to possess things, possess people, and things of that nature? Or are they taught to be, relaxed, and not worry so much about the negativity and be more positive? It's a reflection of our culture, our propaganda, our media, how we educate and push society. In this system, it would be constantly reinforced to help, to be kind. That's part of the mantra. Empathy. Empathy for others, being able to feel other. And
Homo empathicus.
Homo empathicus, yes, I like that.
Not Homo sapiens, who sat with the energy.
Yeah. And so that would be, but that's a very fluid question that you asked, because I can't predict what people in the future are going to behave like. We can see the indicators of how people might behave, but I cannot predict the future. The only thing I can say is we have the capability to make a better world. It's up to us, after the systems are in place, to work together with each other to make sure that we maintain a positive social environment for ourselves.
On the transport section, I did see you mention teletransportation. Are you a believer in that? Because they already teletransported atoms.
No,
Light.
I didn't have
Protons,
teleportation.
you didn't.
No. Oh,
You
do I
believe
believe
it?
in that?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like Star Trek, beam me up to
Star Trek,
kind of stuff?
type of teleportation.
To a point, but the phasing of the physics, I'm not going to get into all that. Right now, no, but I'll never say never. That's an oxymoron, but I'll never say never. All right. This molecules, and especially proteins and stuff, are so complicated that the ability for a system to regenerate that at a distance and get all the electrons in the right place. We're doing good to do one, proton or whatever it was that was done. Well, they've done a proton, they've done an electron, they've done something. But that's one, and not over a very large distance. The moment they can do a piece of paper or something like that, I'll be impressed. So Do I think it's possible? Sure, why not? Do I know how long? 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years? I have no idea. But, you know, I don't put anything past us. I think, you know, we've already proven that it's possible, at least on the nano level, on the atomic level. So if we can expand that technology, sure, maybe we can do that.
I love the whole idea and everything. I really believe in bursting the bubble and finding new ways of doing things. But we've spoken about obesity, we've spoken about cancer, we've spoken about population, and we've spoken about needing a medical care as opposed to what I would think was more necessary to find a health care. But anyway, what I was wondering is whether in all this, these substances that will be creating where we would live, when I think of space, I think of plastic and synthetic and all the rest of it. And I know NASA's done a whole lot of work about clean air and all those kind of things, which are really, really interesting. But what would be the kind of basis on which this is all built? Because if it is built on chemicals and synthetics, we may have a natural population control. We may get rid of the diabetes. I mean, you know, we might people with diabetes, or obesity, because we're creating a world where the human element of survival does not coexist with the synthetic elements. Now I'm being really extreme in things, but it is.
It's hard to address the extremes because I don't know. You know,
But is it plastic synthetic or is it natural?
No, it's as natural as it can be. The whole purpose is to revert back to nature, but using technology to do it. So it's not living in plastic bubbles. And anything that would be invented or used, there would be real analysis on its long-term effects. There would be 5-year studies or 10-year studies on any new materials on how it would affect people. Would it be a carcinogen? Would that be bad? And there would be ways to analyze that.
Next question. Is NASA doing that now?
Not my department. But I know they do a lot of materials research. Whether or not they do the research to the human element, like how is that going to affect people, I do not know.
Because if you could find that out, that's the
Okay. I'll have to see if I can find anybody I can talk to about that. That's like the Glenn Research Center, I think, would do stuff like that as well.
Yes. We've just recently become an urbanised planet, which is like from the more of the world population lives in an urban setting. If this like happened, you move to an abundance world, would you see the world revert into a more rural setting? And if so, how would that then affect transport? Like when I go on a train, instead we go to like more the vacuum one, you go 400 kilometers over it before it's viable. That's the acceleration needs.
Right.
So for a more rural world, we need more decentralized transport systems in a way.
Well, yeah, that's why you would have the other maglev train, the other version of it. So, like, one would be long distance between major cities across the planet.
But what I'm saying though, would there be any need then for major cities? So the role of a major city to bring people together to work.
Oh,
we
yes.
don't need to work, we don't need major cities. So how would there be like millions of villages everywhere?
Okay, I see what you're saying. So what would there be cities? Because
You need a metro.
I guess
If you're abundance full, so you don't need.
I would say
John,
well,
you don't need.
yes, there would be, and here's why. The cities would be the regional production hubs. They would be your area that would be doing all the food manufacturing, all the product creation. It would be making all the TVs. Everything's localized. There's no more. This is produced in Japan and it's shipped around the world. Every city produces. Every city has the blueprints and has the facilities to build its own needs of that technology of whatever that is. So it's all regional. So your cities are your hubs. Now, you're under no obligation to live in the city. The technology can go into the rural, so if you want to live in the woods a little bit, but still have the technological abundance, you might have to travel more to go and get the stuff at the distribution center. That's a choice you have to make. If you lived in the city directly, it's kind of at your fingertips. So, but that's decisions people make today. Do they want to live urban? Do they want to live metropolis? Do they want to live in the woods?
Okay, so you're like future world of abundance, and you'd be like you'd be like ancient Greece in a way, like lots of little city-states supporting their sort of catchment area,
Right.
rather than countries made up of cities. You know?
Right. Each city is its own government in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no more national governments. There's definitely no global New World Order nonsense. There's none of that either. I get attacked with that a lot. You want one world government? No, actually, I want no government. Well, at least not on that level. I want to reduce it. We're not communism. We're not socialism. We're not any ism that's ever been developed. Now, we might grab bits and pieces from certain political ideologies. I mean, we're grabbing the democracy bit. We want that part. There's good and bad in all the systems. But you also got to look at when old systems were developed. There wasn't the capability to do what we can do today. So they could only do it for their state or for their nation. They really couldn't do it for the world. And so there's a big hole in the capabilities there, whereas now we can. And so we grab the best bits and use technology to help cover the rest.
I think human emotion would be taken out of making a decision more.
Right, if you've got technology helping produce and create, you're no longer dependent upon politicians or other people with emotional bias, making this decision for you, that they might not even make a decision that you like. And statistics show, as the population gets more informed, you get a 50-50 split. Just look at America with the Republicans and the Democrats. It's basically 50-50 down the nation. Think about flipping a coin. You flip a coin enough times, it ends up being a 50-50 split. Well, that's kind of where we've gotten to our political, we've stalemated now. We're now down to the 50-50 split on pretty much every issue. Because it's all opinion. I'm right, you're wrong, two sides, we're done. It's bipolar madness. And so, in order to get past that, you really do need to take people out of the loop and eliminate those biases on things that matter the most to existence, to the food, shelter, clothing, production of items and things of that nature. The only governance would be, I hesitate to say guilds or whatever, because it all depends on how it would come together. We still need to progress with the idea, but if you needed to build a bridge because there's a necessity, the engineers that would be responsible for that would find out, do you have the resources to pull that off? Is it available? Is it viable? Is it going to serve a positive need? There are statistical analysis to do that. It's not based on opinion, but it's based on data and fact. And then you arrive at a decision. You don't just make a decision. You arrive at one through proper analysis.
But don't you, as a scientist, believe that analysis and statistics can be manipulated to serve your own ends?
Yes, it can. And I would say that is a byproduct of the system we live in now, not true science. Because think about, how do the scientists get their funding? They get their funding by promoting a certain viewpoint. So you can skew the data. That's why I laughed at that global warming debacle, when some scientists were saying one thing and some were saying the other things. Well, of course they are. They're funded to say this, and they're funded to say that. So now get rid of that and be scientists, and stop being profit motivated. They're motivated to say that because they have to pay the rent too. They got to feed their family. They're doing what they need to do to maintain their job, to live. Whereas if they could alleviate that from their mindset and be true scientists, they will arrive at the right answer and not a biased one because of some outside influence.
So what do you believe about global warming?
Turn off the camera. No. I don't necessarily believe that we have had such a large impact as we have been meant to believe. We still don't know a lot about the giant ball of flame in the sky and how it behaves and what it does. We've only been studying the sun for, what, 100 years maybe? And they did it way in earlier times where they kind of just noticed sunspots, but they didn't understand plasma dynamics of a solar rotating spheroid. Okay, so we don't know what we don't know about the sun. And it's been around a very long time, and we don't know what its cycles may be. We don't know if it has billion-year cycles, because we're not around long enough. Our snapshot is so small. So how do we know that we're having such a major impact? Now, do I believe we are having an impact? Yes, you can see it, and that makes sense. But are we having this catastrophic